We've got a lot to talk about today. NASCAR TV ratings set a new record high, actually. Matt DiBenedetto might be in some trouble next season, and then we get to talk about Bristol this weekend. I'm excited, hope you guys are too. Let's have a fun show. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. Once again, I'm in a hotel room, although this time I'm now in the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area. That's right, I'm in the hometown of NASCAR. I was driving around visiting some team shops and stores, and I bought this. This is the nose off of Matt Kenseth. There's actually a show car from last season, but that's why I got such a good price on it. But yeah, I gotta put this in the background somewhere. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, oh, that really ties the whole room together. Anyway, I've had tons of fun today. I've been a NASCAR fan since I was 7 years old, and I have never ventured out here to North Carolina to see the race shops, to see the Hall of Fame, which I'll be doing later this weekend, filming by the way. But it's been a ton of fun. But we have a lot of news to talk about in today's episode, so let's just jump right in. Firstly, let's talk about TV ratings. NBC Sports reported that this last week's Cup race at Michigan had an overnight rating of 1.81, which is a 12% increase from this race 1 year ago. And not just that, this was the highest rated NASCAR race on cable since 2017. Why do people love Michigan so much? I mean, I don't know. It's a nice track. It's a good track. Always draws in a good crowd. Racing's pretty fun there. I mean, it's near the Motor City, you know. I don't know, it's just weird. Now, Adam Stern initially reported that this race had a 1.75 in the overnight TV rating category, but he later acknowledged the fact that he and NBC probably had slightly different numbers because they started recording their data at different times. Not exactly sure how that works. Is NBC fudging the numbers a little bit here? Maybe, but still an 8 to 12% increase year over year is quite impressive in today's media landscape. Now a reminder, this is the highest rated NASCAR race on cable in 2 years. That does not include races like the Daytona 500 on the main Fox network or the Homestead finale on the main NBC. This is only referring to races that were on FS1 or NBCSN. Still a huge accomplishment, obviously. I'm not trying to take away from it, but I'm just saying, Michigan this last weekend did not have better ratings than the Daytona 500. Let's not get crazy. But this is still very significant and very good news for NASCAR. In 2019, people are still continuing to transition away from traditional cable, and they're moving more towards online streaming and things like that. But live sports are still extremely valuable to these broadcasting companies. That's why NBC has gone all in on American motorsports last year. So they bought up all the rights to the IndyCar season schedule, and they've added to their NASCAR broadcast, experimenting with new cool camera angles. They did that iRacing thing a couple weeks ago. Even Fox has continued to grow its NASCAR coverage. I mean, they added Bob Pockrass, Ricky Craven, Jamie McMurray, and more to the broadcast team this year. A lot of networks are still buying into NASCAR, still buying into all sorts of live sports, because that's still what's carrying and keeping a lot of typical cable channels afloat. So this is NASCAR once again proving to NBC Sports and Fox Sports 1 and etc. that it's worth something. It's still worth a lot of money. It's still very important to these companies. I know I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't want to get ahead of the curve here, but this season with TV ratings being consistently up slightly from last year, it's good news for NASCAR. Still down compared to the Dale Jr. era. Remember, this is the post-Dale Jr. era. Still down compared to Dale Jr. seasons, but the fact that at least maybe the decline has stabilized. Maybe we're going to start to see a small uptick over the next few years. This could be the start of that. I'm not going to get ahead of myself too much yet, but this could be the start of that, and we'll just have to wait and see, honestly. But yeah, big TV ratings boost this year compared to last year for Michigan. Good sign. Now let's talk about some breaking news also from our good buddy over here, Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal. He reported literally just before I hit record on this episode that Matt DiBenedetto is unlikely to return to the 95 car next season. He says that it's still pretty likely that someone like Christopher Bell or even Eric Jones could end up there. Remember, Christopher Bell has signed a deal with Joe Gibbs for next season, a one-year deal, but he doesn't know if it's going to be an Xfinity deal, a Cup deal, and if it is a Cup deal, he doesn't even know yet if it's actually going to be with Joe Gibbs Racing or with an outlier like Levine. Now backing up a little bit, this is a shame for Matt DiBenedetto. He started the season off kind of on a rough patch, fell back. He's been 25th in points most of the year, but recently he started to run pretty well. He had some great performances like at the road courses at Watkins Glen, Sonoma. He started to have some breakout performances in recent weeks, and it's a shame that this news would come out now. I'm sure Toyota has been talking about this for months, but it's a shame to hear this now, especially since it feels like Matt DiBenedetto has really been racing for his career these last month or so, and he's been really good at it. Unfortunately, it's a business, and it looks like Matt DiBenedetto is just going to kind of fall victim to the really just loaded stable of drivers Toyota has. I mean, Christopher Bell, they've invested a lot of money in him. Eric Jones, they've invested a lot of money in him. Toyota wants those guys in their race cars, and unfortunately, they probably have priority over Matt DiBenedetto. Now, Matt DiBenedetto, though, big credit to him. He took a chance, left Go Fast Racing last year, ended up with a Toyota team, has had some really good performances this year. Good chance he could end up with a decent ride still in 2020. Remains to be seen, but according to this report, it seems unlikely that he will stay in that 95 car, which It's just the nature of the business. Now I want to go ahead and transition to looking ahead to the next several races. We have 3 races to go in the regular season, and because of this, I want to look again at the point standing, specifically the playoff grid, because there are still some very, very big names actually on the outside looking in right now. And so we actually have our second sponsored segment of the week. A big thank you to Theragesic for coming on to sponsor Out of the Groove. And in honor of this pain relief cream coming on to sponsor the show, let's talk about some drivers who might be feeling the pain, might be feeling the burn, so to speak, at this point in the season. If we look at 13th and 14th on the playoff grid right now, Kyle Larson plus 71, Eric Jones plus 70. I'm feeling pretty good about these two guys. They've been on a tear lately, especially Eric Jones, and they put themselves in a very comfortable situation here. I don't think they're missing the playoffs. I think they're all but locked in with 3 races to go. Especially Bristol, both these drivers are very good there. I think they're going to be in a perfectly fine scenario. So let's move on to 15th on the playoff grid. Ryan Newman, currently plus 16 after another solid performance this past weekend at Michigan. Now Ryan Newman, in my opinion, has got to be feeling pretty good. I don't think he needs any of this Theragesic or anything like that. He's in a good spot. Plus 16 in Roush equipment. That's insane. I know he's right there on the bubble, but honestly, Ryan Newman's got to feel like he's playing with house money at this point. You know, his worst finish this year is still only 25th place. That's right, he has not finished outside the top 25 this entire season. His average finish this year is 14.0. Compare that to some of the other drivers he's racing against. Jimmie Johnson's, his average finish this year is a 16.1. Heck, even Kyle Larson, who's actually ahead of him in the points, has an average finish of over 15. Ryan Newman's not lighting the world on fire. He's not contending for wins at all. He's barely contending for top 5s, but he's consistently there, 10th to 15th, and he finishes there every week. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't do anything stupid to cost him track position or cost him momentum. He's just out there doing his job. 14th, 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 14th. He's just pounding the freaking field with 14th place finishes. And that's what he does best. Consistency, man. Remember 2014, almost won him the whole freaking championship with that kind of consistency. He finished 9th at Bristol early this year, so he's been good there recently. I think Ryan Newman's in a pretty darn good spot to make the playoffs. Who saw this coming? Oh my goodness. Now currently 16th on the playoff grid is Clint Bowyer. Now, he might need some of this stuff. I talked about it in my episode after Michigan, but Clint Bowyer has had a terrible summer. In his last 9 races, he only has 1 top 10 finish. A Stewart-Haas racing driver, a veteran Stewart-Haas racing driver. That's wild. Now he's solid at Bristol. He actually finished 7th here earlier this year, so this could be a good race for him. But Clint Bowyer reportedly is in a contract season. And now remember, he missed the playoffs in 2017, his first year with SHR. So if he misses the playoffs somehow in 2 out of his 3 years with SHR, a veteran driver like him, I don't think he comes back next year. I think Tony Stewart, Gene Haas, I think they let him go. And if that's the case, then yeah, that might be pretty painful for Clint Bowyer. I'll ship him one of these. He might need it. But yeah, Clint Bowyer's got to be pretty stressed out about his current situation. Only 6 points to the good. The guy behind him, first guy out, is Daniel Suarez, -6. His teammate, Daniel Suarez, probably isn't feeling much better. Now, he too had a good run at Bristol earlier this year, finished 8th, so solid for him. But if we look ahead, Darlington is after Bristol, and Daniel Suarez has finished 29th and 38th in his 2 races at Darlington, so that's not a great track for him. Indianapolis, fast, flat, might be right in Daniel's wheelhouse. Now, much like his teammate Clint Bowyer, who he's racing with for that final playoff spot, Daniel Suarez is also reportedly in a contract year. I know he's got funding from Eris, but that money can only take you so far. And now I saw a report this last weekend at Michigan that a reporter asked him about his contract situation for next year, and Daniel Suarez declined to comment. I don't know, when people ask Christopher Bell about his contract situation, he says, oh yeah, I got a deal. When people ask Eric Jones about his contract situation, oh yeah, we're working on it, it's making good progress. When we ask Daniel Suarez about his contract situation, he doesn't want to talk about it. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know him or anything. But that makes me think that maybe the conversations haven't gone as well, or maybe that they aren't making progress the way Suarez would like, and he doesn't want to talk about it right now. I could be reading too much into it. Probably am. But I don't know. If Daniel Suarez misses the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row with Joe Gibbs racing equipment, Stewart-Haas racing equipment, people are going to start to ask questions. Is there any equipment out there that Daniel Suarez can succeed with? And the answer might be no. So Daniel Suarez, I know he has plenty of funding. I know he's a very likable guy, great personality and everything. But he too might be feeling a little stressed right now. This situation might be pretty tough on him. 6 points out though. He made a big stride with the top 5 at Michigan this last weekend. Very much in it. So Daniel Suarez, do not count him out. But he's kind of in trouble. All right, now the last guy on this playoff bubble in 18th, I'm not going to harp on it too much, but Jimmie Johnson, he is 12 points out after wrecking at Michigan. Now, he might have needed some Theragesic after hitting the wall early in that race, but yeah, the point is, Jimmie Johnson's in trouble. He's a 7-time champion. We've seen it this year. He's not his normal self, making mistakes like at Michigan that we're not used to seeing him make. He hasn't won a points pay race in over 2 years. Now, he did finish 10th at Bristol earlier this year, so that's a solid finish, maybe a good track for him. him. He's a veteran driver. He's had success at Darlington in the past. Last few years haven't been too kind to him. He doesn't have a top 10 at Darlington since 2014, so... And Indianapolis coming up, I don't know, these tracks don't necessarily line themselves up perfectly for Jimmie Johnson, but if there's any driver in the field that can get it done when he needs it the most, it's Jimmie Johnson. I've learned to not doubt him, even now in his darkest hour. I've learned to still not doubt Jimmie Johnson because he's proven me wrong so many times in the past. I doubted him in 2016, and he still somehow snuck through that big wreck and won the championship at Homestead. So I don't want to sit here and doubt on Jimmie Johnson at all. I definitely think he's got quite the uphill battle if he wants to make the playoffs. 12 points out, some SHR cars ahead of him he's going to have to try and beat. That's a tough challenge, but Jimmie Johnson with his new crew chief, Cliff Daniels, they're up for it. If anyone is, they're up for it. If you want my prediction with 3 races to go, I think Ryan Newman and Clint Bowyer will hold on. Honestly, I think Ryan Newman's been so consistent this year. He's got that 16-point cushion, actually. I think Ryan Newman hangs on. Clint Bowyer's been on just a slump lately, and yet even then he's still 6 points to the good. It feels like you can't get past him. I don't trust Daniel Suarez. I'd love for him to make the playoffs, but I just do not trust him. And then Jimmie Johnson, I don't want to doubt him, but 12 points out, he's making mistakes like he did at Michigan last week. I don't know. New crew chief, it just might be too much happening too quickly here for Jimmie to turn things around in 3 weeks. So I'm not sure about Jimmie Johnson. If he was right there on the bubble, like 1 or 2 points out, I'd probably have him making it in. But 12 points out, that's significant. That is a significant gap. So I think Newman and Clint Bowyer will hang in there, but those are just my 2 cents. Again, I want to thank Theragesic for coming on and sponsoring the show, this segment specifically. Theragesic is perfect at providing pain relief for arthritis, muscle pain, back pain, even like a sprained ankle. It's available at numerous retail pharmacies, grocery stores, and many independent drug stores, including Walmart, Bashas', Brookshire Grocery, Discount Drug Mart, Food City, HEB, plenty of other places. You can even get it at Amazon.com. It's perfect if you're going to be at the racetrack this weekend at Bristol. A lot of walking around, get some sore feet, sore back. Stuff might be perfect, might come in handy, so order yours, go get yours before this race weekend, or when next time you're at a racetrack. I think it could be perfect for you. So thanks again to Theragesic for coming on and sponsoring Out of the Groove. Really appreciate it. Stop muscle pain before it stops you. That's their slogan. All right, so that's most of my show. Quickly talking about Bristol because I have some exciting announcements. Firstly, I saw Kyle Busch as the Vegas favorite to win. Yeah, he's probably a safe bet, but I wouldn't rule out the Penske cars. They might make a comeback this weekend. Also, Matt DiBenedetto, especially with this news coming out, might be racing with a chip on his shoulder. He finished top 5 here at Bristol, last year or the year before? He ran 12th here in the spring, so don't forget Matt DiBenedetto as well, but Kyle Busch, definitely a safe pick this weekend. But now I have some announcements, some special things that you guys can expect from me here in the next few days. I'm going to be at Bristol, so if you're going to be at Bristol, make sure you get to the track early on Saturday at noon. Me and several other well-known NASCAR YouTube personalities are going to be doing a meetup at the NASCAR pole position tent. It's outside the track in the vendors area. I haven't been to Bristol before, but I've been told it's near turn 1, the exit outside of turn 1. So you don't need a ticket to go in there. You don't need to go into the racetrack. It's outside the track. Meetup is at noon, Saturday, August 17th. Come say hi, take pictures, talk about racing, whatever you want to do. I'm looking forward to seeing a whole bunch of you guys there. Also, I'll be on MRN's Sunday Money podcast here later this week, so look for that episode very soon. Super cool of them to invite me to come on out. Excited to be on. Hopefully you guys have a fun time listening to that as well. Also, I'll be at the NASCAR Hall of Fame later this week, filming basically my whole experience. I've never been to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I'm sure some of you guys have, probably many of you guys have. But if you haven't been, or if you haven't been in a long time, look forward to that video coming out probably in the next week or so. Basically a vlog of me going around the Hall of Fame and documenting my experience, seeing what it's all about. It should be a ton of fun. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. So those are my announcements. Lots of interesting videos coming out in the next couple weeks, next few days. I also had a Landon Castle interview yesterday if you missed that one. So a lot of fun stuff happening on this channel. I couldn't do this without the support I get from every single one of you who watches, subscribes, and tells your friends about it. I greatly appreciate it. So thank you all for watching. Remember to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, all that great stuff so you don't miss a thing. And of course, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, Michael Harrison, at You As The Stars, Mentally Effective, Cameron James, John Colbins, Jason Arlong, Wesley Donaldson, Isaac Dennison, Mika Suzuki, iFantasyRace.com, TheRacingInsiders.com, Matthew Koulopoulos, Pepe Luscious, Jeremy Conkling, Emilio Garcia, Joey DiMancino, Sky Racing Forums, Bryce Schumacher, and the rest of these amazing Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Thanks to you guys, I get to go over to the racetrack like this at Bristol, document and share it with all you guys. Wouldn't be possible without you awesome Patreon supporters, so thank you all a ton. I basically already did all my shout outs, so yeah, thanks for watching everyone. See you guys again, hopefully pretty soon. I might not have another video up until Bristol, but we'll see. I'm still doing a lot of traveling and everything, but hopefully we get some more videos up later this week. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I see you guys again very soon.